South by Southwest Interactive in Austin, Texas is a mecca for business CEOs, journalists, and tech geeks of every kind. This year the festival drew in more than 19,000 attendees, up 40% from last year's registration numbers. Among the variety of South by Southwest Interactive attendees is a population of nonprofit employees who have been present at the festival since its inception 15 years ago. They come in hopes of adapting the next big thing in technology to the needs of their organizations and agencies, and so heavily populate the festival that there is a current of panels and discussions specifically geared toward nonprofit organizations. This year, still in the midst of the U.S. economic crisis, much of the conversation in these sessions revolved around the survival of the organizations. From interactions with constituents on social media platforms to new and innovative ways to raise money online, no territory was left untouched. Employees shared tactics that work, and experts proposed methods for survival.
And then in December, for the Acumen Fund and for UCSF Medical Center, we used causes to build awareness around the holidays, and then people now we're seeing are doing it for their own birthdays, and they're sort of like pulling it throughout the year to build funds for those organizations.
The people that are active are talking on Twitter and Facebook, so why would you not be there having that conversation to take that loudspeaker effect and you know, blow up the message that people are doing on your behalf. So,
Beth Cantor, co-author of the Network Nonprofit, spent her time at South by Southwest Interactive urging nonprofit organizations to partner with what she calls free agents, or social media savvy individuals who work outside of an organization to organize, mobilize, raise funds, and communicate with constituents for a cause.
Social media is a part of what organizations do. What's really important is not the tools, but the way they work. And that has to do with being more transparent, understanding how to work in networks, embracing the concept of simplicity, kind of focusing on what you do best and network the rest. How do we bust this open? You know, what does it mean to have network governance? So we're going to see more models for that. It was the last chapter of my book, so we had to want our best, projection of what the future might look like for nonprofits being networked. We wrote that chapter. So if you look at it, you'll see a profile of a nonprofit in 2020 and what they're doing and how they're operating and how it's vastly different from what it is today.
In the chapter on governance, Cantor writes about governing boards that operate more like a social network, seeking input from the community and other organizations so that the organization itself is more of a representation of the community it serves. Fundraising is a major concern for nonprofits in 2011. As more and more interactions occur across social media platforms, nonprofit organizations are turning to methods of online fundraising. But there are differing views as to how effective online fundraising can actually be. Randall Moss, co-author of The Future of Nonprofits, pioneered the idea of nonprofits accepting alternative currencies as donations.
Why can't we donate Linden dollars with ease? Why does it need to be so difficult? Why can't we donate World of Warcraft gold coins and all the various other alternative currencies? And why isn't RMT, real money trading, part of the nonprofit sector? Why are there so many systematic barriers to this? If we can accept
He's optimistic about the survival of nonprofits through online fundraising efforts.
Why can't we
money? So when fundraising gets down to that level and moves away from this is our fundraiser, this is how we do it, this is how we've always done it, and these are the rules, to please go fundraise for us, do it however you want, use your own connections and figure it out. That's the point, that's the tipping point when the individual journalism aspect of social media turns the tables and starts to give really small and really nimble organizations the same kind of effectiveness and power that large organizations have, and that's when you'll see revenue changes happen pretty expeditiously. We're betting it's probably 4 to 5 years from now, but keep an eye on it. That's how it's going to impact, that's how it empowers, and that's how it's going to move the industry. Them, yeah, I mean, I have seen a lot of small nonprofits. I know we mentioned a number of them in our book that have used social media to broadcast their message much farther than they could have through traditional media in a much more meaningful, interconnected, and personal way. So it works. In fact, it probably works better with small nonprofits because they're nimble and light enough to actually affect this instead of running through bureaucracy.
Alan Graham from Mobile Loaves and Fishes, a nonprofit that serves Austin's homeless population, is more skeptical about dependence on online fundraising.
probably have raised $5,000 to $7,000 in 3 years on Facebook. It's just, but direct mail, I could, we probably raised, at the end of the year, $250,000. All that, and these are great devices, but boy, they do not replace conventional ways of doing things. They can only augment.
In 2008, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported over 1.64 million nonprofit organizations in the U.S., employing 8.7 million workers, 5.9% of all U.S. workers. It's easy to see that not only are nonprofit organizations impacted by the economy, but the economy is impacted by them. Finding new and innovative ways to raise funds online will allow these agencies to stay alive, employ people, and serve the communities we live in.
Not-for-profits might have to get very good at public pitching and garnering that support. Guess where they're going to get it? Facebook and Twitter and social networks. So they've got to raise their profile, not by the hobnobbing at the town hall, at the art gallery with so-and-so that's got lots of money, but actually through, you know, aggregated support from the crowd. So it's
they're ignoring these 20s and 30-year-olds who are going to be 40 pretty quick, and 50 and 60, and then into the wealth dispersal phases of their life, right? So the new donor attitudes are being able to reach out using social media and fundraising on social media platforms for people in their 20s and 30s. That's how.
So what will nonprofit organizations look like in 10 years? Or even 5 years? What nonprofit employees and experts at South by Southwest Interactive can agree on is that the only way for these agencies to survive is to stay on the cutting edge, stay connected, and stay outside the box when it comes to raising awareness and money.
But what it is easier to do now is find people who are interested in your cause or your issue that would not have found it otherwise before. So, you know, maybe we can't get somebody to show up, but we can get them to spread the word, and maybe that has a different type of value than what we're normally thinking of.